Hello, welcome to another episode of the IDS podcast, and we're here at Elements Lighting and Decor in Car Place, and I'm here with three of the team members from Elements Lighting and Decor. Hailey, who most of you probably know from IDS, who your role here I think is technically visual merchandiser and media communications. Nicole, you're the buyer and analyst and visual merchandiser, so a little bit of everything, and Tim is our general manager. So we're going to basically we're going to be talking about lighting today and its role in interior design, among other things. Maybe even its role in photography, if that interests anybody. I know it interests me. But first, let's get into it and talk about the role of lighting in interior design, because before I was a member of IDS, my thoughts on interior design were pretty much furniture. You know, I didn't think anything else. Lighting never even occurred to me. And obviously, once I started shooting interior design, I realized how important of a role lighting plays into that, not only from like the design of lighting, but in, you know, the ambience of the room and stuff. So whoever wants to start off, I mean, feel free, but let's talk about how you define the relationship between lighting and interior designer, or the actual design process.
I can start off. Thank you for coming and for having us. And so I would say the role that lighting plays in interior design is pretty pivotal, and that it really does make or break a room. It kind of guides you for where you want to go in a space. It highlights textures and showcases different objects or artwork, whatever that is. And it also makes a statement. So they call it the jewelry of the room now. And it's becoming more of a statement, too, in lighting design and interior design we're seeing. And, you know, people are gravitating towards making, you know, bespoke design and custom work. So it's really becoming one of a kind in its spaces, not only in our designers, but in our clients.
Yeah, so it's giving us the opportunity to do a lot of different things with lighting now, especially as the technology's changing. We can get more into that later, but to Hailey's point, you know, it's the finishing touches in the room, but it's also kind of the starting point where a lot of designers now are starting to think about, you know, with the furniture and the paint colors and the different elements that you're bringing into a space from a design standpoint, being able to light those spaces differently and be able to create a mood or a setting or a feel in a room becomes that much more important today. And we have the ability and the technology and the products to do that. Whereas 15, 20 years ago, we were basing everything on what light fixture looks great over a dining table, or what can we put in the center of a room to make the room look pretty. Now there's different ways for us to be able to really accentuate the room from a design standpoint and really put an exclamation point on each designer's project or feel.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned starting point, which is interesting, because I would always think, and you know, my knowledge on design is pretty lacking and limited to my communications with designers on shoots and whatnot. Right. But I would think that the lighting is the last step to go in. And like you said, it was 15, 20 years ago. And now it's more of a starting point. So at what point should that be considered from a designer standpoint when they're putting together a room? Is it now something that has to be looked at maybe first, or?
Yeah, it should be one of the first elements that's thought about, especially when we're talking about ground up projects or full scale renovations. Every design project's different, and some designers come in the later stages of a project, and they're really in a position where they're just kind of putting some finishing touches on a room, or a client may have started a project and they really need the designer to finish it off. At that point, you know, we have we're somewhat limited as to what we can do as far as, you know, how we can really build lighting up from the ground up. But for designers that have projects that are starting from scratch, new builds, full-scale renovations, if we are brought in early into the process, and when I say we, I mean either Elements or anybody from a lighting design perspective, it gives us the ability to really work hand in hand with that designer, with that contractor, with whoever might be coordinating that project, and really build something special.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Would you call, if you don't start that lighting design process early on? Would you call it a mistake? Or if not, what mistakes are you seeing that people are making as far as design?
I wouldn't say it's a mistake. I would say it limits you.
Okay.
So in projects, people are defining their voices now through lighting and the decor that you could put in. So whereas people would express themselves through art, color, tattoos, lighting is now like another expression of their likes. Walking into a house, when I see a certain light, that will tell you the style and I'm expressing myself. So now we also have tape light. People are more using recessed lighting, which you can get more crafty with. Mm-hmm. So they're lighting their bars, they're lighting their islands. Like there's so much technology now that if you don't do it early enough, and this is someone that's technically invested in having that wow factor in a room, you could miss it. So when Tim's saying starting early, if you're working with the electricians when they're just before the sheetrock's put up, they're running electric, that's when you need to spec it out. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're not going to start tearing out the finished product to say, oh, I want to add that in. And I think with interior designers, it's so interesting. Now that design is driving lighting, we're in such a different world of like modern, your new traditionals are transitional, but the feel of it, like everything has movement and it really defines the whole room. So I think you can do it early, but not too early because again, you have furniture. Sizing plays a huge part of that. Like I may love this light that's above my head, but it doesn't fit the sizing I'm using. So you can get an early start, but not too early. It just depends on the aspect of the lighting that you're using for that room.
Sure. And on that note, what's the balance between the actual lighting itself or the design of the lighting? You talk about size, you talk about the design. Mm-hmm. What about the actual balance between that and the light that actually that element produces?
Yes.
For me personally, as a photographer, when I go into a shoot, I say turn your lights off. I don't want them on. Mm-hmm. Because we just get a mixed variety of different types of light with the daylight coming in, and most lights are tungsten or whatever, and it just looks horrible. But most of my clients are like, it's fine because I care more about the design than what the light actually produces, unless it's a nighttime twilight and you're putting lights on in the family room and you want to see how it glows. But so
that definitely is a consideration. Between designers, their clients. I mean, the first question we're very well trained to ask is, do you have hi-hats in the room? Because if you have hi-hats, it allows for your designer fixture to be supplemental light. Mm-hmm. It's not your main light source. But for someone that this is the only lighting that they have, we have to be careful with what we're using. Mm-hmm. Yes, someone could say lighting's not that important to me until you're sitting at a table and you can't see what's in front of you and you need it. Yeah. So, as much as we love to say, like, we want to give you the best light, the best look for you, it has to follow a formula for lighting for the room. Your size, are you lighting above the table? Are you lighting the entire room? Specialty lighting, your picture lights, like there's so many avenues to go into it. And yes, photography is definitely different lighting than, going into a house because you have too many sources of light. Then you have discoloration and you're not getting the true feel for it. And that also brings into context, are they liking warm light, or white light, bright light? Like there's so many clarifications now for the type of light source that you can get. And having the consumer understand what they're getting. Mm-hmm. They'll come in, they'll be like, what does this mean? What is 2700? What is 3000? But I heard I should use white bright light. And then now you're left to explain because there's so many different verbiages that are used for it, but it all comes down to the same thing, 2700, 3000, 3500, 4000. And just being able to showcase that in the showroom is what we try to do. Yeah. Because this is the final product. You can't change it once you have it. So you have to nail it.
I think also, like, no matter how beautifully a space is designed, it's gonna fall flat if you can't properly light it, if you can't really see it. And so, now more than ever, you have a lot more options and customization capabilities when it comes to lighting, and so it helps make those changes even after the fact that the construction is done. And, you know, it just helps that there's a lot more options now with the technology.
Cool. Let's shift a little bit and talk about trends that are going on with lighting, because I don't know anything about lighting at all personally, and I know, High Point's going on, even though this will be released in a few months, so it'll be way in the past. But what are you guys seeing for 2025 compared to last year, and then even wider compared to 5-10 years ago?
Yeah, so we go to 2 shows a year specifically for our lighting projects and products. And we go to Dallas, which is the biggest showcase in North America for the latest lighting, and all the vendors go there. And so it feels like a while back now,
Yes.
but we saw a lot of different trends this show. And please feel free to chime in, Nicole, because we get to go all together. And I feel like the main trends that we saw were Art Deco, so a lot of different forms of glass and kind of like a nod to nostalgia. And so bringing back like the schoolhouse glass, the stained glass, and, just getting more creative with that. Also bespoke design, so what's called swag lighting. So it's going to be like different multi-pendants, but you're able to place it more strategically. So you can have, the cord on a hook and have different lights within one canopy. And I would say a lot more tailored design. So attention to the chains and the finials and little things like that really stood out and really made it more crafted. And then I would say pops of color were huge. So you were seeing more greens and purples and blues and just like, just different Art Deco looks.
Yeah, I think I've seen that across the board for everything. I walk into some new designs that I'm shooting now, and there's color everywhere.
Color everywhere. Also, I would say minimalist, but sculptural forms in different organic materials. So we've been seeing consistently stone, like
Tons of
alabaster,
stone.
travertine.
Travertine's big.
Which is cool because now you can use the LED technology and you could backlight it, and you can use strip tape to just like create different free forms.
Alabaster.
Alabaster is
Oh,
huge.
alabaster.
Yep.
Yeah, everyone's incorporating it. They're bringing your furniture to lighting so that you could tie it in, whether it's a Beaubichet, a finial, a certain little attribute on the light. That way, like if that's your style, I may be contemporary or I may be traditional. I could add that little factor, and it ties in my entire room to show you that's what we were looking to decorate with. The stones everywhere. High Point's our furniture and home decor. They have lighting there, but it's not the main show for that. So it'll be interesting that we came back from January show. We know what the trends are that we're seeing, and to see how the furniture followed suit. Who's ahead of who, right? Like that's really what we're going to figure out when we go. Actually, we're leaving Friday for it. So it'll be really interesting to see what they're going to be introducing. And then we get to put it all together in the showroom, right? Like, so we know the lighting we have coming in, and then we're going to bring in lifestyle settings and how we can tie it all together with furniture. And the fun part of that is like there used to be formulas and methods on how to decorate. Everything was like a color. Now everything's mixing materials, textures, fabrics.
No rules.
There's no rules.
Yeah.
There is. And you know what? Customers come in all the time. They're like, tell me what the rule is. I'm like, break the rules. That's what we're on doing now. There are no rules to follow. It's express yourself. Yes, I think there could be some limitations to that you don't want to overdo it or the room looks silly. But I think when you can experiment and expand, it broadens your whole horizon. Like you're just like, I never pictured that together, and it looks amazing. So the fun part here, what we get to do is we get to play with that.
Yeah.
We get to shop, put it all together, and come up with visuals that no one would have thought about if they didn't see it. For the showroom, to show the designers, their clients.
Cool. I was going to get to this later, but now that you made that segue, let's talk about that. Having a showroom and working with a showroom, and what value does a showroom offer a designer versus shopping online?
Oh, so much.
Well, let's talk about it, because especially for new designers coming out of new designers that are coming out of school, and they're brought up in the phone technology, I don't want to call it whatever time now where everything is shopping online. You know, I buy everything online. I don't know the last time I've been in a retail store other than shooting it. But what's the advantages to coming in here? And obviously you laid out, you know, seeing a living room set basically, but
the advantage of knowledge, right? Like, yes, you can be taught by a textbook, but every scenario is different. Every measurement is different. Every room has factors to it that you have to factor in. And my personal feeling with designers is it's a look, right? They're creating a look, a feel that when you go into a room, we're here to guideline that look, right? Sizing. Many know sizing, but they're not tailored to maybe take every little attribute. Is it a slope ceiling? Can the chandelier go on a slope ceiling? Maybe it's a linear that we have to factor in the size of the table. Are you using a leaf? Are you not using a leaf? We're here to ask the questions that they may not be thinking about. When you go online, who's asking you this? How will you know you're sizing it correctly? We're here to take out all the guesswork. I'll let you.
Yeah, and not only that, I would say we, are able to also do home consultations and home visits, so we can really get an idea for the space and how to base the lighting around that, and using our expertise, but also I understand the e-commerce attraction to buying online, but
it's easy.
It's easy, but in our industry, buying a $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $10,000 light without seeing it in person, and also like getting an idea for the quality of the materials and understanding the story behind it and the design of it is very important, because it's an investment, and I don't know personally, and I also don't think our designers really, they'll use the online websites as like a guide to see like what's out there, but our showroom really showcases all the different styles, all the different families, what it looks like in a space, how to visualize it. We now use visual tools so that they can really view it in their space.
I was about to ask, is augmented reality a thing for you guys?
It's getting there. I mean, we are now utilizing AI more. We're utilizing, Photoshop and photo capabilities so that they can pick their light and then see it in their space or a generic space or, some kind of visualization for them so that they can understand really the scale of it, but also the aesthetics of it.
I think one of the biggest competitive advantages that we have, like you were talking about before, Brian, how you buy everything online.
Yeah.
Who do you buy from? What's the name of the person that you're buying it from? Like who's the experience, right? So here we have experienced staff is 15, 20 employees here at Elements alone, and we all work out of this one location, many of which have been here for 15, 20, 30 years. So there is a vast amount of experience, even on the newer side of our staff. Some of our most newest employees are 2, 3, 4 years, but they get extensive training coming on board, or they come in with a good base and knowledge of design and lighting to begin with. And everybody here really does a great job of caring for every single client that walks in, and taking really good care of any designer that might have questions. So probably the biggest competitive advantage of shopping here versus shopping online is who you're working with. You're not going to get a bot that's going to pop up on your screen and say, "Oh, how can I help you today?" Yeah. You're going to get Chris. You're going to get Nicole. You're going to get Laura. Yeah. And a lot of the designers that work with us at Elements now they can work with whoever they want, but they typically have a consistent base of people that they want to work with. Why? Because Laura knows exactly what type of style or aesthetic that I go with as a designer. Or Nisha might be really great at helping source specific products that a certain designer might be looking for. So there's a relationship there that you really don't get or can't really establish when you're just making purchases online.
I would also say there's post-purchase customer service. So in case anything, for whatever reason, is faulty in your fixture or even in your furniture or any of our products, we make sure to take care of that and take that headache away in terms of what it looks like to ship it back, or can we just order a simple part replacement or sometimes a whole fixture replacement. So you're not dealing with emailing or trying to call and not getting any answers from the manufacturers. You have someone dedicated to you.
Taking care of the problems. So what's that process like when a seasoned or a new designer walks into a showroom looking for lighting and they've never worked with a showroom before, or a lighting designer to help them? What's that process like when they walk in and they want to get started?
Well, the first thing we do is we qualify them as a trade account, right? So
Yeah.
just make sure that there's legitimacy behind their business. But once we started to establish a little bit of rapport, we'll connect them with whatever design consultant we feel is going to be a good match for them. Now, that could be that they've already established a relationship with somebody. A lot of the designers that have never worked with us before, they just, we're not by appointment only. So they walk freely into the showroom whenever they want. So a lot of times, some of our newest designers, we enlist in our trade program because they just happen to be walking around the store and they stumbled upon us, right? They Googled us, or they've heard about Elements for the last 25 years, but just finally got their business off the ground, or they were a prior customer. One of our designers we work with on a regular basis here was a client of mine. So I went to her house as a home consultation 5 years ago, helped measure all the lighting for her house, and she decided to get into the design field, went to school for it, and now she's one of the designers that works with us on a regular basis. So all those situations organically happen a little bit differently, but a lot of times they come to us, or we'll have conversations in things like IDS meetings or out in trade shows, or different ways that we're seeing and networking with the design community. And we just kind of build a relationship from there. And once they've established a trade account with us, that's it. That's where the relationship begins, and they get to take advantage of our experience. We have an 18,000 square foot warehouse that we store a product in, so designers have the ability to make purchases with their clients and not have to worry about everything immediately shipping to the client's home or to the job site and potentially getting lost or broken. We have the ability to kind of keep everything here and warehouse it so that when they're ready and they say, okay, time to put in lighting, which is typically one of the last things that's done on a job site, it's all ready, it's all consolidated, it's all separated by room. We label it, this is for the living room, this is for the primary bathroom, this is for the basement. Whatever area it's going to, it's all already consolidated and organized for the designer, so that when they say go, it's ready to go. And it just helps make the process that much less of a headache for the designer.
So making that process less of a headache all around, what should a designer do to prepare for a consultation? Because they want to come in, you want it to be easy on your side, they want it to be easy on their side, and there's obviously things they need to do beforehand to prepare and make sure they're ready to go. So
coming with their room sizes and measurements is always helpful, so we can help scale product for them. Having an idea of the design aesthetic, more than anything else, having a vision for what the room's going to look like. Like we talked about in the beginning, we can be the most impactful and helpful for a designer from a lighting standpoint if we're in the project as early as possible. So if a designer comes in and says, this is how I envision this dining room looking. I want to be able to do a troffered ceiling around that we maybe potentially might light, or we want to do a tray ceiling, or we want to do a cove around the ceiling. That's all information that we need to know up front if we're going to help light the room, to be able to tell them how to pre-wire for it. The conversations that the designers need to have with the builder, with the electrician, with the architect, whoever might need to be involved, or better yet, get us involved in the conversation. We have no problem being a go-between between the designer and the contractor to help take some of that pressure off the designer. We speak the language. We can obviously communicate exactly what the electrician or contractor needs to know in order to execute the vision.
makes sense.
That actually is a good point as to why to use a store as well. There have been numerous times that we have gotten on the phone with electricians, contractors, architects, to really give the specifications needed, or to troubleshoot. They're trying to hang something and something's not lighting, or what height should I be doing this? We're a phone call away. We're open 7 days a week. You will always have someone to talk to. And if you go online, who is helping you with that? You know, it's basic information. They don't care about the relationships. And I think one of the most exciting parts for me with working with a lot of designers is the end product and seeing how everything got tied together. How did the vision come out? How does the customer feel? And we take pride in that. We are excited. We love to post finished jobs. So we'll always say at the end of the job, send us pictures, or maybe we'll go take a picture and a video, because we are just excited as a consumer. It's an art, and it's like you're finishing your masterpiece.
Yeah. All right, let's shift a little bit to smart lighting and technology. And you're looking at Tim like he's the
We're all like,
so how has smart lighting changed what clients and designers are pretty much asking for nowadays? Because I'm sure that's what they're asking for.
Yeah, it's starting to get there. There's a lot of designers that still hold a lot of value in, the traditional concepts of how to light a room. But just got off the phone a few minutes ago, right before I walked in here, with a designer that's doing a very cool primary bathroom and wanted to do some sort of ceiling installation where they wanted to illuminate it. So my first question to them was, send me some pictures. Are we still early in the process? Can we still run wiring, things of that nature? So, and we are, so we're obviously going to look to execute something really cool there. But once designers have a feel or a vision for what they want to do with the room, coming to us so we can really start to formulate ideas as to what we can do with the technology of lighting is important. We have the ability to do anything from color changing lighting. We have the ability to do, any hue of white with the flick of a button on your phone, to anything as advanced as we just finished a project in the city, a fitness studio in the city, where they have the ability to sync their music to whatever light scheme that they want. So they can pulsate all the lighting throughout the studio. They can trail the lighting, so it kind of almost looks like it's following a cool pattern throughout the ceiling. So there's a lot of really cool opportunities that we have to do interesting lighting effects. But again, it has to all be kind of pre-planned. So those designers need to come to us with a thought or a vision for what the room's going to look like. Even if they ask us, like, how could you like this room? Give us that opportunity early enough to be able, in the process, to be able to do that with them. Then it can come together pretty brilliantly. There's also tons of advances in technology just in the decorative lighting. So over the last 5-10 years, the idea of fixtures that are non-socketed, integrated LED fixtures, gives us a whole new ability to be able to twist and bend and manipulate lighting in the way it's never been done before. So we talked a lot about, cove lighting and linear strip lighting and things of that nature, but a lot of that can be put in and applied to fixturing as well, and can really create a very modern or contemporary feel to a room that, again, we didn't have the ability to do 10, 15 years ago.
I would also just add, you're having the ability now to, create more. There's a lot more creative applications. So it doesn't have to just be LED integrated, but it can also be now in bulbs. So you're having bulbs that you can change the color temperature on the bulb. Or in a bathroom, like you can change the color temperature in the vanity light. So if you're in a bathroom, you're going to want it to be a little more bright, like brighter white, rather than, in an office space or a den where you want it to be 2700K to create a cozy atmosphere. But you have a lot more options, and it doesn't have to just be like in your typical tape light. It's in the bulbs now. You can do dim to warm on the bulb. Sorry. And it's just very cool and a lot more innovative.
Yeah, and what about smart home integration? I mean, for me, I have every light in my house is linked to my Alexa, and for example, my grandmother's 90 years old, and I linked all her lights to her Alexa, so she can barely walk, which is great, and options for people that aren't tech savvy, that she can struggle to get to her bed and just say, Alexa, turn off all the lights, and everything goes off. She doesn't have to get up and take 20 minutes to walk to the light switch. So what are you seeing as far as smart home integration with lighting?
Well, one thing that's nice is that I think the majority of the manufacturers we work with have taken a lot of that into consideration. Mm-hmm. So there's very little lighting these days that does not have the ability to integrate into smart home systems. Mm-hmm. So whether it's even basic socketed fixtures or more modern integrated fixtures, almost everything, including recessed lighting, cove lighting, anything can, for the most part, integrate into a smart home system. It's just a matter of how advanced you want the smart home system to be.
Yeah.
Like you can do something like an Alexa system, or you can upgrade to smart homework systems that will dim your lighting throughout the course of your day so that it replicates the setting of the sun. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of really cool things that can be done. It just depends, I guess, on the level of interest that your client has. Some people are still very set on having a basic on-off in their house, and they want to have a very simple way to integrate smart home into their homes. And then there's clients that want the most advanced bells and whistles and features that are out there. I think the important thing is that we have the ability to help them from every level of the spectrum.
A huge category was fans.
Okay.
That has all the smart system built in, mm-hmm. and a lot of them come with their own personalized system mm-hmm. and app that you get from the fan company. Mm-hmm. But then you would have to learn it to understand it. Yeah. So I feel like we are constantly in school and learning. When we go to shows or the reps come in and we do PK classes to teach the staff, because technology is forever changing. Just when you think you understand it, they're out with something new, and we're like, oh, okay.
Well, and now with AI, I'm sure that's sort of being integrated. For instance, I'll use an example. Every night, when I sit down in my den to put a show on, I dim my lights to 10%, like things like that, where AI knows your patterns and it starts doing them for you ahead of you, so you don't have to do the same things every night.
Yeah, the circadian rhythm is becoming more popular. I would say also you're using a lot less consumption of the energy, so you're saving a lot more, you're being more sustainable, but you also are able to control your lighting system from Florida or whatever. You don't have to be home, and it doesn't just have to be indoors. It can be outdoors and all be interconnected.
So let's talk about sustainability, because on the most basic level, what should designers understand, about modern LED lights versus what they've been using for the last 20, 30 years? Up until, I guess, the last 5 years, everything is pretty much LED now. Yep. So. You don't have, against, incandescent lights are now against code. You can't really carry them anymore, and you're not having any more halogen, harsh, bright lighting. You're now, you're saving a lot with the energy and, with just the impact that has. But you're also seeing the packaging is a lot more sustainable, and they're using a lot more materials that are lasting a lot longer also.
Yeah, and you have the ability to, with LED, it utilizes a lot less power. So one of the biggest questions we get in the showroom every single day from everyday clients is, this LED bulb, it only uses 10 watts. Well, it's burning 10 watts of power. It's 10 watts of energy consumption. It's not 10 watts of output. Mm-hmm. So what LED has allowed us to do is to take clients that have a socket-based fixture that might say maximum 60 watts on the socket, and we can essentially level them up as bright as they want to get with LED, because to find a bulb that's going to burn more than 15 watts of LED, you're not even going to want that in your house. It's going to be so bright. Yeah. So in most cases, most LED bulbs are producing between 5 and 10 watts of power, but producing between 60 and 100 watts of power. So it's allowed us to basically take any socketed fixture and tell a client, you can get as bright as you want with this fixture. It doesn't have to limit yourself just because it says it can only take 60 watts. Put LED in there, we'll get you to 100 watts. We'll put you in 150 watts if you want to. But we really have the ability and the flexibility to go as dim, especially since all these bulbs are dimmable as well. We can get you down to 5% brightness on a fixture, or we can get you up to 150 watts per socket if you really need it.
I honestly thought he was going to go with how long does it last?
I was going to say,
right?
yeah.
That was where I thought you were
That's
going
question
with
number
that.
two.
That I feel like, well, if I buy where's the bulb? That's the first one. I don't understand. Where's the bulb? Where do I change it? You don't change it.
Yeah.
Everything's built in. It's fantastic. You don't have to get a ladder out. You don't have to climb. You don't do anything. And then I get, well, what if it blows out? How do you change it? Well, you can't change the light bulb because it's diodes, right?
There is no light bulb.
There is no light bulb. So every factory will tell you the longevity of it. 50,000 hours. How do you equate that? Well, what room is it in? How long will you be using it? How many hours a day? And then we could say maybe 10 years, right? That's where people get a little nervous on buying it. Well, if it goes out, do I have to change the entire fixture? And every factory is different. It could be just a driver, a transformer. It could be a little part that screws on. So with as exciting as this whole industry is becoming with it, you still have a lot of people that are very worrisome and saying, like, I don't know if I trust it. With me, what I do find, though, if someone really wants a lot of light, you only get what it delivers. They give you, this is how many lumens a light has, hypothetically 3,000 lumens. What's delivered is 1,500. So you have to go by delivered. That's what comes out of your light. That's your light source. So if you have someone that does not have hi-hats and the light is only given 800 lumens, I may say this may not be the light for you. I'd rather go with a socketed version so I can give you maximum wattage and you can choose the light that you want. So there are still limitations with having integrated lighting, although it opens up other avenues for energy saving, the longevity of it. You really have to feel out your consumer for which way to go with them in the direction.
And then from a design perspective too, you're not getting that burning heat anymore. So you can apply it behind stones and, in different areas that traditionally you wouldn't have been able to.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's the best part. I mean, we're sitting in front of two LED panels, and there's
we're
no
not
heat at
sweating.
all.
We're not sweating.
Exactly.
Yeah. Or in the bathroom, like you're not burning so much and you're not in a furnace anymore.
Right.
Yeah. So are there any specific terms that people should use to, certifications or terms that most lighting companies use to be able to tell these lights are eco-friendly or they're made for sustainability, or that's like, I guess, sort of industry standards across?
Yeah.
I would say industry standards. I can't think of any specific terminology.
No, it's just the integrated LED, right?
Yeah,
That's defining the technology being used.
And what's happened is the government over the years has really stepped in and created a lot of guidelines around what LED is and how it has to be produced and what the wattage consumption is and things of that nature. So I think in most cases, it's something that is kind of become more just the understood norm in the industry, that, from an LED perspective, this is what your wattage consumption is. This is what the lumen output comparison numbers look like.
Everybody's wattage is different.
Yeah.
Per fixture, per factory. So a 32 watt here could be 100% different from a 32 watt over here. So you have to really read the specifications. You can't just go by that. And that's also what I find a little challenging sometimes is, what does it equate to? Oh, I have this much light. The customer, what does that mean? Oh, let me get the calculator. Hold on. Let me see what it equates to. Because it's not natural. It's not like 60 watt. You could add your 60 watts. You can't do that with this. You really have to break it down.
I think the only term I can think of is when it comes to efficacy is something that's used out there in the industry. And basically, it's more used along the lines of like architectural recessed lighting and tape lighting and linear lighting. But efficacy basically is your efficiency of how many lumens are generated per fixture. Obviously, the higher efficacy, the better. And it seems like over the years, technology is getting better and better, and efficacy ratings on all these fixtures just seem to be going up. So, and it happens even with the screw-in LED bulbs that we have. An LED bulb that we had 3 years ago that produced 800 lumens. Not to get too technical here, but maybe it was a 5-watt bulb at 800 lumens. That bulb now at 5 watts is probably 900 lumens. Or that 800 lumen bulb is now a 4-watt bulb. So the ability to have more lumens or light produced per wattage has gone up over the years, and that's just a testament to everybody in the industry, all the manufacturers, all buying into the technology and realizing this is the future, this is the way to go, and let's just make it as big and as productive and profitable and efficient as we possibly can.
Well, have you found those manufacturers able to balance the efficiency with the aesthetics, or it really hasn't had much of an effect?
I would say, the more higher ends are definitely also paying more attention. This may seem like an obvious one, but just going back to your other question of, just key terms and also just things to keep in mind when you're looking for a light is it indoor or outdoors? Is it wet rated, damp, or dry? So, or are you on the coast? Are you near the water? Is it coastal graded for, an outdoor light? And so there's different materials that they'll use or, just depending on the environment.
One big terminology factor that you're going to see coming across the board is CCT, color changing temperature, which we discussed at 2700, 3000. Many fixtures now are coming with the built-in option. So one obstacle in ordering and being a buyer and selling to designers is, well, what light source do you want? And you have the customer go, well, I don't know, where they made you decide. Well, you have to buy 2700 or 3000 or 3500. So now the customer was left going, oh, I have to make this decision. It's going to light my whole house right now. Now hi-hats have the little button on it that you just pick it. So it takes all the guesswork out of it. And they don't have to feel that they're backed in a corner to make a decision. They can buy the light or the hi-hat and set it. So I think with each show, we're seeing more categories. Bath lights coming out with that ability. We're waiting for more of the chandeliers to come out because I think that's going to be the most exciting factor that they could build in. It's just making it affordable because that's what I hear. Well, it will rise the price of the product so much if we do it, but the more forward base they come with this technology, the cheaper it starts to become.
And once those start integrating smart too, for instance, your bathroom, you have it daylight during the day and a little warmer at night. And it's same light.
Which is ideal, right? To be able to have that ability to change it. So that is exciting in and of itself and makes the selling part of it much easier. To explain. No, you're good.
I was going to say, just to build on that too, we're getting more asked for not only LED integrated mirrors, but CCT and defoggers. So so you can now match the color temperature of the hi-hats, of the fixture, and of the mirror. So you can have it backlit and create that ambiance and that glow, but you can also have it be functional.
Makes sense. We're running low on time, so I want to end with budgeting. And what should designers know about setting realistic lighting budgets for their projects? And obviously this can be probably a whole episode in itself.
Don't leave lighting for last.
Yes, leave money for lighting.
Budget in your lighting.
So on that note, do designers underestimate the importance of lighting? Because you said don't save it for last.
I think in some cases they do. A lot of times because the philosophy has always been lighting is the last thing that goes into the home. And it typically is from an installation standpoint when you do especially when you're doing something that's a new build, right? The first thing that goes up is the sheetrock, and then we paint, and then we put in floors and carpets and whatever we're doing, and then furniture. And then the lighting does go in last. But there are elements of the lighting that should not go in last, including, like we talked about before, all the architectural lighting, the layered lighting, things of that nature. So, I think it's important if any designers listening to us right now to make sure that lighting budgeting be something that is determined up front, and that's something we can always help with. If a designer came to me or to anybody on our staff and said, we want to put an amazing uplit cove in this grand dining room, we can give you an idea what budgeting will look like for that. Now, is it going to be the same today that it'll be in 3 months with tariffs and increases and such? Maybe not, but at least we have an idea. Budget is always something that's going to move a little bit, but we can give a pretty good foundation for how much designers should budget for lighting per room if we're having those conversations up front to say, this is what we want to do from a design's perspective and how we want to light it.
I think managing expectations, and we pride ourselves on having such a variety of different vendors so that no matter what the budget is, we can find you something. Mm-hmm. And one of the things and one of the benefits of coming here is that we really curate and personalize all different options of sourcing. So we're going to be able to find whatever you're looking for, no matter the budget.
Cool. We'll end with that, but I guess let's just give whoever's listening any way to, if they want to set up a consultation or come in, what's the best way for them to reach out to you, to set something up, to speak to you guys? Obviously, they can just walk in. You're right here in Car Place. But if they want to set something up.
So there's a couple avenues. So come on in. Obviously, that's the
main one that we love.
Yeah, if you're geographically local to the store, absolutely come on in. We love putting a face with a name. We're pretty friendly here.
And walk-ins also, right? Not by appointment only.
Walk-ins are absolutely fine. We are not appointment only. Appointments can be made on our website as well. So that's always an option as well, elementslightingstore.com. You can call us at the showroom. Showroom hours and phone number on the website, 516-747-4748. If you don't want to go to the website. Or you can reach out to us on social, right? Follow our Instagram.
Elements Lighting and Decor. Or you can email us, info@elementsathome.com.
Yeah.
Someone will absolutely get back to you.
Yep.
And we love our designers, so the more the merrier.
We also offer virtual as well, so you don't have to be in New York or Long Island. You could be in Connecticut. You can be in North Carolina, wherever it is. And we ship, everywhere.
I think that's one standout thing that we do. Texting, FaceTiming, you name it, we do it. Mm-hmm. Just so that you don't have to inconvenience yourself to say, I have to make a trip to Elements. No, we'll send you everything.
Well, that goes back to the advantages of showroom versus online.
Yes, you have now, I've bonded with you. Yeah. We have a little friendship started, and we like to maintain that. So.
Nicole likes to make friends.
I like to make friends.
Someone's got it.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So Nicole, Hailey, Tim from Elements Lighting and Decor Car Place, thank you for this. I had a little mini education on lighting, which I knew nothing about except for my 2 little LED panels here. So appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.